What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Fantasy Pros. This is Leading Off Live, the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Orrico, joined by Casey Bubba. We're going to be talking you through all things fantasy baseball, running through the headlines, some news and notes, talking some rookies, best bets, home run board, and everything else. Bubba, great to have you back after some technical difficulties last week. I know you got to go do a show with Welsh earlier this week, but great to be back with the Joe and Bubba show, my friend.
Yep, we're back. It's great to be back with you. Glad you're able to go solo and survive, but it's good to be here, and we're going to be together a lot coming up here the next month.
Story of my life, Bubba, going solo and surviving. But that show that I went to over the weekend was fantastic. The Oasis concert was great. I'm glad you and Welshie got to do a show together, and I got to watch it as I was recuperating, drinking a Gatorade. I got to watch that show. You guys were fantastic together. But it's back to Joe and Bubba time, and we have a lot of fun things to be talking about, starting with a historic performance from Kyle Schwarber. This one was one of the best games I've ever seen. 21st player in Major League history to hit a 4-home run game. There were no position player home runs here either. He went 4 for 6, drove in 9. That was the big number here. 94 runs for the season, 49 homers, 119 ribbies, 10 steals. He's hitting 248. He's been unbelievable again, and this has become common for Kyle Schwarber now, it seems, over the last 4 years. We're getting 40-ish homers, 100 runs and ribbies, and over the last 2 seasons, the batting average has actually been pretty solid. So my question for you, Bubba, first of all, what are your thoughts on what he did last night? But is he a first-rounder at this point? Does it make sense that he'll sneak into the first round for you?
Well, he was a first rounder in the meatball draft, so that was pretty insight. But I don't know. It's still so tough. It's the old adage. It's a utility player, which is a dumb adage. I'll fully admit. But I've always been worried about batting average. But he's hitting for it for the second straight year, and if he can pull that off, he's actually stealing bases too. Not to mention just absolute just Schwarbomb after Schwarbomb after Schwarbomb. He's making a great case. Like if people used to like Yordan Alvarez in the first round, Schwarber's better than Yordan Alvarez. So to long-winded way, yes, he's probably worth a first-round pick at this point. But he's going to be a free agent too. Let's see where he signs.
That is also a factor I hadn't really considered, but I completely agree at this point. If Yordan Alvarez, if you told me he'd play 160 games, then I might take him. But Schwarber every year, last 4 seasons, 155, 160, 150. He's at 134 with a month to go this year. You know, it's the old boring saying, but the best ability is availability. Now, some people in the chat are saying, is he going to be the MVP at this point? I don't think that he's got enough juice in terms of like wins above replacement and things like that, which can be a little bit unfair to a designated hitter type of player, but he doesn't even lead his team in wins above replacement. That would actually be Trey Turner. I personally think it's going to be Ohtani again. Bubba, do you think it's going to be another Ohtani MVP here?
Probably. I do agree with many people out there in the chat that Schwarber definitely is worth the discussion. There's no doubt about that. I'm just pulling up the favorites right now. Ohtani's still at minus 1,000, give or take, but Schwarber's second at plus 500. He's closing the gap, as they say. Still very large gap. I would personally vote for Schwarber. I think he's better, having a better season, but you can't deny what Ohtani does. He's just a freak.
Yeah, I don't have like a truly strong opinion on it. Schwarber's got him beat in terms of homers, in terms of RBI. He's actually relatively close in terms of stolen bases, which is pretty hilarious. Ohtani has him in terms of the runs, in terms of the batting average. He's also starting to pitch, and he's starting to ramp up the innings. He threw 5 innings the other night, so it feels like it's going to be Ohtani. But I wouldn't have any problem with them giving it to Kyle Schwarber. Just feels like he's got a bit of an uphill road to climb here over the last couple of weeks. As we keep it going, let's talk about his teammate Aaron Nola. Not a great outing. It wasn't terrible. I had some people, messaging me saying, "Oh my God, can I just drop Aaron Nola early in the start?" And then he kind of straightened out the line a little bit. 6 innings, 4 earned runs, but 3 walks and just 3 strikeouts. What's your comfort level going forward on Aaron Nola here, Bubba? His next start is going to come at Milwaukee. Doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies right now. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, he's not an auto start for me by any sense of the imagination. He's given up 12 earned runs over his 3 starts coming off the IL. That's over 14 and a third innings pitched. That's not going to cut it. You got a juggernaut like the Brew Crew. Nola can maybe find it at any moment, but I do not feel comfortable with him at all. It has to be a very nice matchup to put him out there. So I'd more than likely be sitting him against the Milwaukee Brewers.
I think I agree. And Michael, just to clarify something here, when I said the other day that George Springer is going to be getting MVP votes, I didn't mean that he's going to be getting first place MVP votes. That's a clear
They
distinction.
go down to like 7th.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you look at the baseball reference pages, you'll see like MVP 8, MVP 10, MVP, whatever it is. Yusei Kikuchi got a Cy Young vote last year, and you can see on his baseball reference page, it says Cy Young Award 15 or something. That's all I meant by Springer getting votes. He is by no means going to win the American League MVP as much as I would love to see that. Let's talk about one of your boys, though, Willy Adames. 2 for 4 with 2 home runs yesterday against the Cubs. And it's now 9 home runs over the past 30 days, but it's also come with a 131 batting average in that time. So Adames has kind of straightened out his season a little bit. It was looking pretty rough for the first couple of months, but fantasy-wise, 24 homers, 79 runs, 69 ribbies, 7 steals. Hasn't been the end of the world, albeit a big step back from last year. But where do you think he stands in the shortstop landscape at this point? There are just so many shortstops. It's such a deep position. Is he a top 10 guy for you still? It feels like a little bit of a stretch at this point. Maybe top 15, top 10. Where does he land for you think?
He's definitely top 15. He's probably around like that 10 to 12 range, give or take. I'd have to like really, really dig in, but it's a loaded landscape to your point. It's a top heavy landscape. The drafts last year, and then even this early one in 2026, you see 8, 9 shortstops going in like the first 7 rounds. Like they pummel them early, and then there's kind of a drop off, and there's still a good like middle infield tier, if that's how you want to go about it. Adames is usually like at the end of that top tier, beginning of the second. He somewhere sits in that world. He had a very slow start in San Francisco at 337 in July, though. Started to get comfortable. The power starting to show up. He even has a few steals over the last couple of weeks, which is a plus. I think there's a lot to be said about new big contract, new place, getting comfortable. Devers is hitting, Chapman is hitting. I think there's a world where you could maybe get a little value on Willy Adames come next season.
Yeah, just looking at that early draft that you took part in last week or the week before, I can't keep track anymore. Willy Adames went as the last pick of the 8th round in a 15-team draft. So I don't mind that at all. I think that's a reasonable price to pay if you have missed out on some of those earlier shortstop targets. I don't mind Willy Adames there at all. Let's talk Christian Walker a little bit. Another guy who hit 2 home runs yesterday, and he's been a little bit more productive this month. The batting average still down at 244, not what you really want to see. But over the last 30 days, 18 runs, 8 homers, 21 ribbies. It's kind of a rude phrase, but the dead cat bounce does happen sometimes where a guy is pretty much done, and then you see either a year or a few months of solid production. Is that what we're getting from Walker? Just this last little hurrah of production before he's fully cooked for fantasy purposes?
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. Another guy, new contract, new home. We're seeing things shift in the second half of the season. 259 in the second half. The power's starting to come around. Like he still had power in the first half, but we're seeing a much different profile. A lot less striking. 103 strikeouts in the first half of the season, Joe. He only has 39 so far in the second half. Like we're seeing a much different approach at the plate from Christian Walker. We're seeing the second half. Christian Walker resembles a lot more of the guy we've seen for years in Arizona. I'm shocked if you have a final September that makes people get right back in board getting Christian Walker as a top 6, 7 first baseman at the position. This guy hit. He wasn't going to lose it overnight, and I think this is a sign of things to come with him.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the year, one of my takes, which feels horrendous now, is that he has essentially the same batted ball profile as like the Matt Olsons, the Pete Alonsos. He's hitting like a 13% barrel rate, 50% hard hit rate. That was one of my arguments coming into the year, that he's a cheaper version of those guys. Didn't exactly work out, but I don't know what to think of him exactly. Like next year, I feel like you might get a little bit of a discount compared to where we've been paying the last couple of years, and I might be willing to buy into it, but you also got to remember he's going to be 35 next year. So there's some pros and cons with Christian Walker, but I don't think that he's fully cooked yet from a fantasy point of view. Let's talk about his teammate, though, Jason Alexander, who I've affectionately nicknamed Costanza. He had another solid start, 5 2/3, allowing 3 earned runs on 7 hits while striking out 8. And over the last month, it's 6 starts for him. It's a 2.41 ERA, a 3.52 xFIP, a 1.04 WHIP, and a 17.6% strikeout minus walk rate. Those are all very solid numbers for Jason Alexander. I'm kind of interested in him at this point. Now, his next start comes against the Yankees. It's not my favorite, but I feel like I'm probably rolling with him in most formats at this point. What about you, Bubba?
15's 100% rolling with him. 12's TBD based on what you have. Like he's definitely a more likely start than others. Like I'd start him over Aaron Nola. Let's just say that. The biggest concern I have, and I've been waiting for this other shoe to drop, is the Astros keep getting pitchers back. And it's like Luis Garcia is supposed to be coming back Monday or Tuesday next week. Lance McCullers already got moved to the bullpen, but they said Lance could start on Monday if Garcia is not back. Now, when Garcia comes back, do they go 6-man? Do they keep Alexander in the rotation? Do they put Eric? There's a million moving parts to this. There's still a world where Alexander could be the odd man out, weirdly enough. That's just the way it works with all these. He shouldn't be. I see you shaking your head. I'm with you. I love what we're getting with him. I think he's still one of their top 3 options in that rotation right now. Yeah. But we know how money talks. And this is one of those deals with the Astros. They want to get guys reps for the postseason. They don't care about our fantasy teams.
Why can't managers care about our fantasy teams a little bit?
I'm with you, brother.
Just a little bit. It would make
We're
things
not
so
asking
much
for
easier.
much.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Rocco Baldelli. I'm looking at you. Let's talk Shota Imanaga. Strong start against your Giants. 7 innings, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts. And his season line is fantastic. A 3.08 ERA and a .93 whip for Imanaga. But below the surface, a lot of those numbers aren't quite as nice as they were last season. Imanaga last year had a 25% strikeout rate. It's down to 20. The whip is lower for sure, and the ERA is about the same, but he has a 4.42 FIP, where it was at 3.72 last year. And I remember in the preseason, there were some people who were saying maybe Imanaga's not all he's cracked up to be. What have you thought about what he's done so far this season? He's missed a little bit of time, missed a few starts with some injury stuff, but overall, the results have been great.
Yeah, I've been Team Shota since he's come around. I've had a lot of shares the last 2 years. He was battling injuries early this season, and I think he's getting healthy. Because I agree, like I was part of the the swinging strikes down, all these things are down. But if you look over his last 6 starts, that he's allowed 3 earned runs or less in every start. He has a 3.00 ERA over those 6 starts with a 3.35 Sierra and a 3.61 xFIP, much better than that season total. He has 40 strikeouts and 5 walks over 39 innings for a pretty good 24.6% K to walk, which is one thing we love to see. And it comes with an 11.5% swinging strike, which is an upgrade over what we saw early in the season. I'm a fan of this guy. I think he's very, very good. Adames hit 2 home runs against him on Thursday. That was a part of the 3 runs. So it's like if you avoid the long ball, could have been even a better start. Obviously, he didn't. But my point is he has improved as the season has gone along. And I think he's a lot better than the overall stat line indicates.
Okay, that's good. I don't have maybe 1 or 2 Gladiator shares, but I haven't followed his season super closely. So it's good to hear that you're not overly worried about Mr. Imanaga. Let's talk about one more pitcher here in the headlines. Braxton Ashcraft could be the next line in these great starters that Pittsburgh keeps developing. We'll talk about another one later on. But Ashcraft, 5 2/3 against the Cardinals, struck out 5, just 1 run on 4 hits, and he has a 2.58 ERA and a 1.15 WHIP now for Mr. Braxton Ashcraft. I'm pretty interested in him. It looks like his next start, though, Bubba, will come against the Dodgers. So how do you weigh that wanting to pick him up versus maybe not wanting to start him against the Dodgers that next time out?
Yeah, this is a great one. Talked about him quite a bit, actually, on the Bubba and Bloom Fab preview on last evening when we recorded, because, to your point, love what he's been doing. Everything's been great. Dodgers matchup's not ideal. Now, if you're in a weekly Fab league, though, like if you're in Yahoo, CBS, play the game, you're fine. If you're in a weekly Fab league like the NFBC, go get him for $1 or $2 now, because the following week he gets at Baltimore and at Washington. That's a 2-step I want in a big way. So to your point, when your original question is, what do you do with the Dodgers start? You don't start him. That's just the reality of the situation. But you stash him now to get him cheap for the following week because money is very tight in your Fab formats. Now, if you're in a daily moves league, you can play those games, of course, and see where that goes. But yeah, give me some Braxton Ashcraft. I'm very intrigued with what we're seeing.
So it won't apply to a lot of people, but there are specific leagues like Tout Wars where you pick a guy up, you have to start him. Would it be worth wearing that Dodger start to you if that meant you got Braxton Ashcraft? Would that be worth the trade-off?
I would, because especially if you're referring to, say, a 15, a deeper league. Now, I think you're in a 12, if I remember correctly. But like in a 15-teamer, I see a world where it's so hard to get pitching out there. So you wear that one next week for sure.
My tout used to be a 12, but it's been bumped up to 15. It was the one that you used to be in.
Okay, so it was 12 when I was in there. Okay.
Yeah, and then they've added a couple people over the year, so it's now 15. I think I'm in 5th or 6th this year. Not exactly covered myself in glory, but not terrible either. Let's talk about some rookies, and there's going to be 2 of them who are going to be getting called up to make their major league debut today. Peyton, I believe it's Tolley. I could be mispronouncing that. And Jonah Tong. They are both going to be making their debuts for the Red Sox and for the Mets, respectively. Both have put up terrific minor league numbers, specifically Tong. Like the numbers that he's put up in AAA, AA and AAA have been fantastic, but not to put anything against Tolley. 3.04 ERA with a 36% strikeout rate and a sub-1 WHIP Are you going all in, Bubba, where you have any fab remaining waiver priorities? Like, are you just going all in for these two, or do you like what you've seen in the minors, and are you thinking they're going to have success right away?
They're two of the top ads for sure this week. Another couple names we discussed in depth because, like, we look at the Ryan makes a minor league leaderboard. We dug in on their numbers because Tully's both of them actually, but Tully started at high A, went all the way to Triple A. Tong's had a similar ascent this year, so they pitched at different levels. But in Tully, you got almost a 31% K to walk, which is insane with a massive swinging strike rate, and he has a ball rate below 34% at every level, which is outstanding for a young pitcher. Like for a guy that strikes out that much to have that kind of command is just phenomenal stuff. And not to mention, he's got a lip rug from the gods, and he's a big, beefy lefty. So he's got my heart through and through. And then you got Tong, who's another guy with a massive swinging strike rate, ground ball rates around 50, 52%. Both elite arms. It just comes who sticks in the rotation type thing. Both have great cases. Like Tong, get Clay Holmes out of there. Done. Easy switch. Now Tyler McGill's coming back soon. Keep that in mind. But then you got Peyton, Tolley. And I don't know if I'm saying it right either. I apologize. But there's no reason he shouldn't stick in that rotation either. He's better than a few. Richard Fitz is out. They apparently don't like Kyle Harrison. So I like both of them. I think they're both premium ads this week, especially if we know they're sticking around for a few weeks.
Yeah, I haven't minded Kyle Harrison as like a stash type. It looks like his last couple of outings in the minors have gone a little bit better. So I am stashing him in one or two leagues, but I think Tolley and Tong, especially these matchups that they get to debut with, it's not exactly, some tough matchups. It's the Pirates and it's the Marlins. Marlins are not as bad as they have been, I guess, but that's a pretty nice landing spot for your first career start. So rooting for both of them, especially Jonah Tong, who's from about 30 minutes north of me here in Markham, Ontario. Let's talk about Bubba Chandler, though. He's made 2 appearances now. It's totaled 8 innings. He struck out 6. He's picked up a win and a save. In the conference of Bubba's between yourself, Bubba Chandler, Bubba Watson, whoever else is in this big Bubba group, what have you come to on Bubba Chandler? Is he somebody that you are starting regardless of format? Is he somebody that it's, format dependent, only in deeper leagues? Because I'm kind of at the point where I'll just start him. Even in my 10-team league, my home league, I'm starting him. The results have been good so far, but I don't really know. If you have a tough decision to make on starting him in a given week, he's a tricky one to figure out because he's not actually starting, but the results have been good. It's a bad team. What do you make of Bubba Chandler?
I've been starting him at least this week because it's pretty much the first week I've had a chance to start him. And it's because they're using him as a piggyback. If they keep using him as a piggyback, that's all we want. It's like our hopes and dreams all in one basket. If he's going to go throw 4 innings and have a chance at a win, maybe get some strikeouts. Strikeouts have been lower than I expected, I'll be honest. But he's getting you ratios. He's getting you what you need. So I'm starting him as long as he's in that piggyback role. If that changes, obviously things change. Like if we know he's going to pitch 2 innings, that stinks. If he's going to start and not go 5+, that stinks. Yeah. There's levels to this. But right now, with the role that we are aware of, I am starting him.
Yeah, I think that's the right play. Just start him unless you have a bunch of better options in a weekly league or in your daily leagues. I guess you're just starting him in daily leagues right now, no matter what. That's kind of where I'm at with Bubba Chandler. Before we keep it going, though, I want to remind you guys that we are still giving away the signed Billy Wagner Hall of Fame jersey. That's from our friends over at Pristine Auction, and it's very, very easy to get your hands on it. You just subscribe to the FantasyPros MLB YouTube channel. You comment on this video or any other recent video, and that's it. You'll be notified if you are subscribed to the channel and everything, and you are the winner, you'll be notified. So make sure you are turning on those notifications so you know when new videos are up and to claim your prize. But let's take a couple of your questions here in the chat. Tong or Tolley? For tonight, I think it's Tong. I think that would be the way I would go with it, but I think they're both starts pretty much wherever you can get your hands on them.
Yep, they're both in great matchups. I lean Tong as well, but both phenomenal spots.
How serious should we take Harrison Bader's hot streak in a stacked lineup? I like Harrison Bader. I think he's a solid player. Now, if you're in a super shallow 10-team, 3 outfielder league, he's probably a borderline guy, but most cases, I think you can start him pretty comfortably. What do you think, Bubba?
Yep, I'm with you. He's a 12-team and deeper. They have a great schedule coming up here with the Twins. So, yeah, keep rolling Harrison Bader and living it up. Sorry, he's not on the Twins anymore. I apologize. But, yes, keep rolling Harrison Bader out there.
When you said that, though, my brain was like, yeah, he's on the Twins still. But no, he is a Philly, and we're all grateful for that.
Great lineup. So, yes.
Yes. Minnesota, not so much these days. Churio coming back soon, hopefully. Who do I drop? My outfield and utility is Soto, Profar, Adele, Doyle, Yandy Diaz, Chandler Simpson, O'Neill Cruz. you're in pretty good shape there, my friend. Am I crazy to drop O'Neal Cruz? He offers stolen bases and not much else. I don't think you're crazy. I think it's fine. As crazy as that does feel to say, I think you can drop O'Neal Cruz.
You can drop him. I've been sitting him I debate dropping him every weekend in my fab leagues. So, because he doesn't play every day, he doesn't do anything at all right now. So, yes, you can drop him.
Man, it's tough, but I think I agree. Joe G, friend of the show. Which to start, Luis Morales, A's, or at St. Louis, or Gavin Williams home versus Seattle? I'd probably go with Gavin Williams. He's really turned things around recently, but Morales is coming off of a couple of decent starts as well. But I think I'm going Gavin Williams.
We'll make this fun for you, Joe G. I'm going Morales. It's been 3 really good starts for him. And St. Louis is hitting under 220 the last month for his righties, striking out over 26%. They've been horrific at the plate.
Yeah, St. Louis, man, like that's a team where I grew up every year. St. Louis was a good ball club. Every single year, it was 92 wins, 96 wins, 91 wins, whatever, and they are very far from that. I actually saw it was a tweet. I think it was Buster Olney or somebody said it recently that they were under 20,000 at Busch for the first time ever. So they need to start figuring some things out. What are your takes on Michael King when he comes back? I don't think there's a ton. I heard you guys talking about him the other day. Welsh thinks that he's kind of a write-off this year. I'm a little more optimistic, but I don't think that he is necessarily a must-roster player in those shallow leagues. Where are you at on Michael King, Bubba?
Same thing. Like, he's still going to throw a simulated game. We're hoping to have him back by the end of the next week. There's still a lot of hope and prayer when it comes to Michael King. He's made, 2 starts since his first injury. I'm taking it really with kids' gloves when it comes to Michael King.
Yeah, I think I agree. Walker or Andrew Vaughn? I think I'll go Christian Walker. I think we got a good production out of Vaughn. You take it, you move on, but I don't think we should keep beating that dead horse. What do you think?
I'm with Walker as well. I love what Vaughn's doing. I'm still starting him for now. They're giving him reps at third base before games. So they're going to start moving him around, and I hate when I see players move around. It affects them at the plate.
They're doing that with Andrew Vaughn?
Because he used to play third base back in college. So, they're doing that because Rhys Hoskins is coming back.
It gives me flashbacks to Jose Abreu being signed and Vaughn going to the outfield and doing nothing for 3 years. And it's like, well, maybe it's because they switched his position and he's not a natural. Well,
that's what I saw that on Twitter yesterday, and I'm like, well, there goes the run we had, boys. It was fun.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, if you picked him up and you got a good, even if you got like half of that, you got a really, really nice couple weeks of corner infield production. Tolly or Luis Heel? Luis Heel's probably the safer answer, but I feel like I'd shoot for the upside with Tolly.
If Tolly sticks in the rotation, I take Tolly all day for the strikeout upside.
Yeah, I think so. All right, a couple more for now, and then we'll get back to them at the end. Bader or Chandler Simpson? I think it's probably Bader, but unless you really need speed.
Yeah, Bader for sure.
Is Sale a must start, or do we sit him against the Phils? I think I'd probably start him. If you've been holding on to him for this long, I'd probably send him out there.
Yep, if you're stashing Sale, you're taking every inning you can get, so you're starting him.
Yeah. Any SPs to add or stream when trying to prioritize ratios? Oof. Anybody off the top of your head, Bubba? I know it's a really open-ended question, but any top of the mind SP ads? I mean, the rookies, right? If we're talking about the rookies, Tong and Tolly, they are guys that you should be adding. Those are it's very hard to answer a question like that. Jason Alexander, like we talked about, has been on a pretty good run. That Yankee start's a little scary. How about this one? Ryan Bergert. He's had some really good starts for Kansas City.
He's been a very good ratio guy, yeah.
And he gets the Angels his next time up. So I think that's probably a pretty decent way to go if you're looking for some streaming help at the moment. Let's get back to the show sheet for now. And let's do the 3 up and 3 down. And coincidentally enough, I didn't remember I'd done this, but Harrison Bader is the top of the 3 up and 3 down. 4 for 5 yesterday with 3 runs. It was nonsense going on yesterday with 19 runs scored, I believe. Lars Nootbaar went 3 for 4. He's been pretty good over the last week or so. Good to see him have some productive games. And Kyle Freeland, who I always poo-poo Kyle Freeland. There's never really anything good to say about him or any Rockies pitchers, but 6 innings, 3 earned runs with 6 strikeouts against Houston. I think you got to give him his due there. That's a pretty good outing. Cal Quantrill, man, 9 earned runs, including 4 homers over 3 1/3 against the Phillies. There was actually times this year, it's going to sound absurd to say now, where Cal Quantrill was a pretty decent streamer. I remember hearing it from you guys. I remember looking at his numbers at certain points, being like, it's not too bad. It's really not too bad for Cal Quantrill, but man, I don't think there's any trusting him at this point, Bubba. I mean, is there any world where you'd stream Cal Quantrill going forward?
Cal Quantrill's gone full Austin Gomber, where it looked good at one point in time, but sayonara.
I think so too. Apologies for my camera. It keeps falling off the top of my computer here. Continuing with the downs, Jose Quintana, 7 earned runs over 3 innings against the D-backs. And then Nolan Gorman, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts yesterday. Let's talk about some of the injuries, though. Corey Seager will undergo an appendectomy and will be out indefinitely. I didn't hear a specific timeline, but indefinitely for me at this point of the year, I don't expect to see him again in 2025. I almost said 2024. Jesus, Bubba. What do you think, though? He's done?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's done. You start tearing apart muscle to have a surgery. It's usually at least 4 to 6 weeks, if not more. So I'd say he's done.
Yeah, I think so. Just a tough blow for the Rangers if they had thought that they were, had a chance to sneak in here with Eovaldi and Seager. That's really not looking good for them. Chase Burns scheduled to throw a bullpen on Saturday. Yainer Diaz has missed 3 consecutive games as he continues to manage a hand injury. Bubba, you are the catcher whisperer. What do you think about Diaz's season as a whole? Will you buy back into him next year? There's been some productive points, but he's going to fall short of that draft day cost.
Yeah, he's doing the second half comeback like he did last season. So he's got me very interested. I will still buy into Yainer Diaz next year. Maybe not as high, but I'll be very, very interested. He got hit by a pitch on this one, and he's hopefully coming back this weekend. But I like what I've seen in the second half of the season.
Yeah, catcher. I mean, I've said this, talked about it with Paul and Justin, talked about it with Welsh. Catcher is very deep. You must be a very happy man looking at the catcher pool.
It's very deep till you get about 10 or 11, and then it drops off a cliff. So don't get too excited too quick on that one.
Okay, I haven't done a full deep dive, but just looking at like the Augustine Ramirez's, the Caros, the Baldwins.
Because the problem is we're losing Wilson Contreras, we're losing Ivan Herrera, we're losing a couple guys that were catchers this year that won't be next year.
Losing Herrera is brutal. That one, no one saw that coming, and it's just injury based. But I've loved Ivan Herrera this year. It's unfortunate. I mean, there's no chance that he gets 6 more games.
Yeah,
would have to be an injury or something to Paez. Yeah, yes. I think I'm just dreaming. I'm just wish casting.
I'm with you. It'd be great.
Evan Carter transferred to the 60-day IL and will miss the remainder of the season. Really, really tough career for him after that breakout kind of couple of months in 2023 in the World Series heroics and everything. It's been a bit of a tough run for him. Trevor McGill placed on the 15-day IL. So Abner Uribe, he's going to be the guy that I'm bidding on this weekend where I need saves. Anybody else in Milwaukee, or do you think it's Uribe's job there, Bubba?
It should be Uribe's. Shelby Miller might get a little love here and there, but it should be Abner Uribe's job.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Francisco Alvarez suffered a broken pinky from a hit by pitch during his rehab assignment, but is hopeful to play again this season. I'm not really counting on it. I think you can probably move on from Francisco Alvarez unless it's a very, very deep league, Bubba.
Yeah, at best he's back to like last week of the season, so I'm pretty much out on that one. He was already going to play through a ligament in his thumb injured and have surgery in the offseason. Now a broken finger, I'm out.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's this kind of tough career, tough first couple of years of his career with injuries and some disappointments. There's been great stretches from Alvarez. He'll probably have some great seasons, but man, I just wish he could stay on the damn field at this point. Pavin Smith will likely be headed to the IL with quad tightness, and Miguel Vargas. This one looked kind of ugly yesterday. I didn't see if there was any follow-up, but I was watching this game. He hit a grand slam, but then he had a collision with Aaron Judge at first base. That's a lot of man running at you and bending your wrist back. So I hope that he is all right. Didn't see any further updates on that one. But that will bring us to the best bets of the day. And I'm going with the straight over and unders today. Those were the ones that looked most appealing. Under Blue Jays and Brewers, 7.5 runs. I know that it is a low number and it might worry some people, but the pitching matchup we got going on tonight is gorgeous. We got Shane Bieber, we got Freddie Peralta. That is something that screams under to me, so I'm taking that one. Marlins and Mets. We've talked about this one already a little bit today with Jonah Tong, but on the other side of that one is Yuri Perez, so I'm really liking the under as well at even money. And then Angels and Astros, over 9 runs. This one, again, just even money plus 100. But it's when I look at the pitchers here, Tyler Anderson, who has been unexceptional this year, and Christian Javier, who has kind of struggled as well in his return. So under for Blue Jays and Brewers, under for Marlins and Mets, and over for Angels and Astros. Bubba, what do you have for the people on this fine Friday?
A lot of bad pitching today. You picked like a couple games that actually has good pitching for your unders. The rest of them, not great. I'm going to stick with that juggernaut. You mentioned the WAR leader for the Phillies, Trey Turner. Over 3 hits, runs, and RBIs at plus 120. Leading off against Bryce Elder. Should get on base a few times to be able to make some damage happen. Trent Grisham, 27 home runs this year, Joe. Would have lost a lot of bets on that one. A lot of bets. He goes up against yeah, I can't even pronounce his first name, Gomez of the Chicago White Sox. Over 3 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 145. Absolutely love that one as well. And then a guy we're going to talk about a little bit later as well. And we talked about him earlier, and you took the over in this game. Christian Walker is hot. Christian Walker has the Crawford boxes. Christian Walker fakes a lefty and Tyler Anderson. Christian Walker loves facing lefties. I know Tyler Anderson has reverse splits. Don't care. He's got new dad strength. Don't care. Christian Walker over 3 hits, runs, RBIs plus 160. I'll be mentioning them again very shortly.
I like it. I like all of it, Bubba. I always like your bets. The hits, runs, and RBIs are always very intriguing to me. And make sure you guys are checking out the Betting Pros Prop Bet Cheat Sheet. It does help you with placing your bets. It shows you the best lines and different player movement. We have some new props you can actually be checking out there. The Prop Bet Cheat Sheet at bettingpros.com/MLB props. Bubba, where are you going for your home run call tonight? Who is screaming your name? I think I have a little bit of an idea. Before we get there, though, the home run board. We have Bees at 55. And hold on a second. I thought Positive Grouch was at the top, but it looks like Bees may have had a Kyle Schwarber or something going on here. Because unless I'm mistaken, but I thought Positive Grouch was
Positive Grouch was
here
on top on Monday last I remember.
That's what I thought too.
Oh,
don't shame me, he says.
Yep, so
chat.
he was. Yep. Wow.
I think that's screaming Kyle Schwarber, but you're still right there at 54 in second. Whips at 54 as well, tied for second. And George is also tied for second at 54 with the Fisher King still in fifth. This one's going to be pretty interesting to follow down the stretch. Welshie, I know, also has Kyle Schwarber in perpetuity. So he actually pulled ahead of Mr. Joe Pisapia yesterday. Very interesting to follow that one. I believe Joe has Kyle Raleigh in perpetuity. So those should both be fun to follow. Bubba, I have a feeling I know where you're going with the home run call today. Let's hear it.
Yep, 5 home runs in the last 7 games. Double donged yesterday. Give me all of the Christian Walker into the Crawford boxes on Friday evening.
I'm going to go with Mr. Shohei Ohtani. I'm taking the lowest hanging fruit possible. I know. I'm very exciting. But Shohei Ohtani against Zach Allen, who has been just miserable, just truly miserable. I'm not asking a lot here from Shohei. I think he'll probably be able to get one out, but that will bring us to the end of the show here, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate everybody hanging out. Want to remind you guys that next Monday there is no show because it's Labor Day. We're going to be taking that day off, and then it'll be myself and Bubba again on Wednesday and Friday of next week. And then we're going to have a couple of little fun guests coming onto the show in September. If you're familiar with Bubba, you'll probably know who that is. I'll save it for now. We'll tell you guys next week. You guys can wait, but you probably figured it out. You probably figured it out from that clue there that I just gave you. But I also wanted to give you guys a heads up about something we are doing here on the football side that is going to be very fun. So there is going to be a mock draft done on the football side. I know football, mentioned on the baseball podcast, taboo, but it's a fun one. We got Jerry O'Connell, the actor, who's going to be joining us for a mock draft. He's a fan of FantasyPros. You probably know him from various things. The thing that I know him most from is playing Vern in Stand By Me, a movie I hold very, very near and dear to my heart. He's going to be joining us for a mock draft, and I think it's going to be Pisapia, Debro. I'm not 100% sure on the cast and characters, but that one's going to be starting at the top of the hour, 1 o'clock Eastern. So stick around if you are here on Twitch already. If you're watching on YouTube, this will be repurposed. You'll be able to see it on YouTube. You can go over to Twitch. Subscribe, though. Subscribe everywhere. The podcast feed, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. You might as well. Thank you so much for all your support, guys. We'll be back here again next Wednesday. But until then, we'll see you next time right here on the Fantasy Pros Baseball Podcast. Oof, that's going to be a fun one. I think I'm going to watch that. I'm not a big football guy, but I do like me some Jerry O'Connell. So I think I may be in the chat for that one.
Yeah, that should be pretty sweet.
That should be pretty fun. You know, mock draft, I can follow along. It's not over my head.